So buying a new holster, especially one meant for concealed carry, can be a very overwhelming process. There are so many different manufacturers, so many different styles of holster, and the prices are all over the place. So what makes a good holster? What does a holster need to have to justify the cost? And are certain upgrades worth more than others? We're going to go over all that today by looking at all the holsters we sell here at Risen Holster Co. and help you guys make a better and more informed choice when you guys buy your next concealed carry holster. Also, stick around towards the end. We're going to throw in another holster that maybe might not be something people think about as much, but is a great option for those that are just now getting into concealed carry. So stick around. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is John Collins, and I am the owner of Risen Holster Co. Like I said, in front of me here is all of our inside the waistband holster options. But before we get into the holsters themselves, I think it's important to talk about what makes a good holster. What are the things that we should be thinking about when buying or selecting a holster and help it to curtail it to fit our concealed carry needs. Now, I think there are 5 important things that we should think about when we're going through that process. First and foremost on that list, I think it's kind of obvious when it comes to something that you're using to retain your firearm, but retention. We should definitely be thinking about how well this holster is going to retain our firearm, how well it's going to hold it in place. The last thing we want to have happen is have our holster come off when we did not intend for it to, or even worse yet, have the firearm come out of the holster when it was not supposed to. So what should we look at when we're looking for retention in a holster? In front of me here, on all of these holsters, we have adjustable retention, which is very, very important. We have 2 screws at minimum, and in some cases 4, that allow us to tighten or loosen this Kydex shell around the holster. What that does is allows us to increase or decrease the friction that this is putting on our firearm. That way it stays in when we need it to stay in, and it doesn't have so much though that when we go to pull the gun out, the entire holster comes with it. Speaking of that, another big point of retention that we need to be looking at is the belt clips themselves. So especially again, for concealed carry purposes, we want to make sure that these belt clips are staying on our belt. There are a bunch of different options on the market. Some of them are more comfortable, some of them are more low profile, and some of them just do a better job than others, to be completely honest about it. Our favorites here at Risen Holster Co. are pretty much anything that comes from discrete carry concepts. The monoblock, like what you see here, comes standard on the majority of our inside the waistband holsters, and it has 2 tabs on the back of the clip that lock onto your belt. That is a very, very big deal. It makes sure that even if you have the retention set too tight on this holster, that when you pull your firearm, this is staying on your belt. Very, very important. The next thing on the list, besides the retention, is the comfort of your holster. That is going to be probably one of the biggest things besides the retention of the holster is the comfort. If the holster is not comfortable, you're not going to wear it. Nobody wants to put a brick inside of their pants and walk around with it all day with all these jagged edges just stabbing us all over the place. So we need to find something that somebody has taken the time to refine all of the edges. We go back and buff the back sides of all of these holsters and the front sides of all these holsters. We round off as many of these square edges as possible to make sure that when we have these holsters on, there are no sharp edges that are jabbing us or sticking us in places that we don't want them to, because it needs to be comfortable or we will not end up wearing it at all. After the comfort and after the retention, the third thing on the list is going to be concealability. This is obvious for many reasons. We don't want anybody to see that we are wearing a firearm, but we also, from a standpoint of comfortability, don't even want to be able to see it ourselves. If I can look down and I can see the grip of my firearm sticking through my shirt, that's going to put a level of discomfort in my head mentally, where I'm going to be constantly fidgeting and just messing around all day, drawing attention to myself, making somebody in Walmart wonder why in the world I'm adjusting my belt for the 15th time that I've been in that aisle. We want to make sure that this thing is going to conceal properly. Now, how do we do that? Well, it depends on the holster, depends on the way the holster is being worn, but especially with appendix carry, we want something like a wing. This is going to tuck the grip of the firearm into our body, and it's definitely going to allow that shirt to drape over that area a lot more. It's almost a necessity if you're going to appendix carry. It's not so much a necessity on the strong side carry. That is more body dependent, but make sure that the holster you buy is really going to conceal well. Something else to think about when we're talking about the concealability of a holster is the holster's adjustability. So instead of making this an entire separate point to talk about, I think it's appropriate to add it into the concealability, because ultimately what we're trying to do when we adjust this holster and move it around is make it more comfortable and concealable. Those things just kind of go in together. So look for a holster that has the ability for the clips to be moved around or to be worn with a different style of clip, so that we can tailor it to fit us, not just have a holster that we need to fit ourselves to. So something like our Ninja light bearing appendix here, they come standard with the monoblock clip. They can be canted, similar with our Agent. We'll talk about that in a quick second for what purposes that might have, but something that can be adjusted that way or can be upgraded even further to something like these tuckable clips. Now, they're tuckable. They're meant so that you can tuck your shirt in behind them. And that's great if it's outfit dependent that you need to do that. But what I think they're the best thing at doing is adjusting the ride height of the holster and how it fits once you're wearing it. So if you can adjust the height of these up and down, it adjusts the holster up and down inside of your pant line and allows it to fit your body much, much better, adding to the level of concealment that you can get out of it, and then also adding to the level of comfort as you're wearing it. Very, very important thing to think about. The fourth thing on the list is going to be that the holster is meant to be worn in a specific way. Now, when I say that, this goes kind of along the lines of why it's so overwhelming to find the right holster, because there's so many different styles. That's kind of a necessity when you're putting something like this on and expecting to wear it all day long. There are holsters out there that are made for generic purposes. You can put them on the inside or on the outside, depending on where you put the belt clips and all that stuff. We do offer one called the Vanguard on our website, and it's not a bad option. The problem when you get into those kinds of holsters are anything that's made to do everything never really does one thing all that well. So that's why we offer all these different inside the waistband options, is because we can tailor these things to be used in a specific manner so that when you are using them in that specific manner, they work just way, way, way better. Finding something, like I said earlier with these appendix holsters, having that wing is something that makes a huge difference. And when you're wearing this in the appendix position, I want everything on this and also at the same time nothing extra on this to make sure that this does the absolute best job possible in the appendix position. I don't plan on wearing this at my strong side, and obviously it's not even made to be worn outside of the waistband, but that's fine because I'm only wanting to wear this appendix and I want it to do the best job possible in that position. All right, and on to our last and final fifth thing to talk about with talking about buying a good holster is it's got to be affordable. Now, prices are all over the place. We can go on Amazon and buy some Chinese holster, it might even be a Kydex holster for 20 bucks. Most likely the retention isn't going to be any good. It's going to come with a really cheesy plastic clip that does not retain the holster onto our belt at all. The retention for the firearm itself is going to be very wish-washy. Maybe you get a good one, maybe not. The other side of that is buying one from one of these bigger manufacturers that cost in the upwards of $140 to $160, sometimes over $200, depending on what belt clips and what camos or colors you go with. Now, I think there is a good in between there that we need to be searching for that gets us all the things that we need without going super extravagant. Not that there's anything wrong with those really expensive holsters. They are some really nice holsters. But after you've bought your firearm, you've bought ammo for your firearm, you've taken the firearm to the range and paid range fees, hopefully, so that you're training with that firearm to become proficient with it. And then, heaven forbid, you start putting accessories on that firearm. You can be over $1,000 just like that. Sometimes the gun is that much by itself. But we are in a day and age where throwing money out at something like that is tough. So adding an extra $200 for a holster on top of that gigantic stack just becomes a big deal. So let's find something that is more affordable, something that meets all of those needs, and something that's going to just make it so that we can actually carry our firearm. So without further ado, we'll get into the holsters themselves. And for each of these holsters, as I go through each of them, I'm going to explain why it is that they're good at the jobs that they were meant to do, but I'll also run a little bit of B-roll in the background so that you guys can see how they're meant to be worn, the different adjustments that can be made to make them fit better in those positions, and kind of get an idea of what like a draw stroke or something would look like from those spots. All right, so to start off, we have our Agent standard inside the waistband holster. This holster has been designed for carrying strong side or on your hip. Some people also call it the 4 o'clock position. That would be 8 o'clock for you left-handers out there. But this is designed to be carried in this strong side hip position here. What makes a good holster for carrying strong side is something that is very, very low profile, because a lot of times when we have our pants and our belt on, this tends to become a pretty big hot spot, pretty tight area. If you're somebody like me, it's got a little bit more of a love handle, then this is where your shirt likes to stick against your body quite a bit. So these holsters designed for this area need to be extremely, extremely low profile. We also tend to reserve this more so for our smaller firearms, not so much the bigger firearms or firearm with lights. Those ones tend to be more appendix carried, but it can be done depending on body type, depending on how tall you are, depends on what kind of clothes you're wearing. But what makes a good holster for that is definitely something that's got to be extremely low profile. And then another huge thing is something that can be canted. So you can see here, this belt clip is not straight up and down. It is offset just a little bit. What that allows us to do is when we put this on, instead of the grip of the firearm running parallel to the belt and sticking straight out the back, it'll have a tendency to push our shirt out. It'll run the firearm's grip up alongside of our bodies, which allows it to just conform better, allows our shirt to drape over it better, and just fit better. Tends to make it a lot more comfortable that way as well. So when you are looking for an inside the waistband holster to carry strong side, these are some things to keep in mind. Next up on the list, and some of y'all may recognize this holster, it's my personal holster, but this is our Ninja non-light bearing appendix holster. Now, if you're starting to appendix carry, I think it's very, very important, again, to maintain this really, really low profile, especially just pretty much anything inside the waistband, let's be honest. We want to have it as low profile as possible. There's a lot of companies out there that put some really cool design aesthetics. There's little angled pieces here and there, and in some ways those are functional, but in a lot of ways they are just an aesthetic. It's something to just set theirs apart from somebody else's. And in many ways they can add bulk and they can add size, and those things can add discomfort and also take away from the concealability of a holster. So what you'll see through all of these is that we try to maintain a extremely, extremely low profile fit. We only have spots where clips need to be, and we only have spots where your firearms controls can have room to come in and out of the holster. Now, for the Ninja non-light bearing appendix, we've designed this holster to have one singular clip right here in the middle and our concealment wing. What this does, this design does, is allows us to put this clip right in the center of gravity between the gun slide and a loaded magazine, should there be one in there, and then perfectly balance itself. What is really cool about this is that when it is worn just offset of your belly button here, kind of along the side of your leg, is that this holster can kind of rock back and forth with you throughout the day. Whether you're sitting down, standing up, walking, running, it has the ability to move just enough so that it's not constantly sticking you. And extremely, extremely comfortable holster. This is what I've been carrying pretty much all summer long. I've opted out of the light bearing carry for the summer, and I've just been amazed, over amazed at how comfortable this holster has continued to be. Obviously, I designed it. Obviously, it's something I made specifically to fit myself really well. But again, it's just an incredibly, incredibly comfortable holster. What makes it really good, again, for the appendix carry, to touch on what you want to look for a appendix carry holster, is good clips, something that does have a little bit of height adjustability. So this is the HLR Mod 4 from Discreet Carry Concepts. It has those slots in it that does allow you to raise and lower this so that you can get yourself a little bit more room or less room depending on what your body type is. And the concealment wing. This allows that grip to be tucked into your body, and is a crucial, crucial thing about appendix carry. So good things to think about when you're looking at an appendix holster. Next up on the list is our next appendix carry holster, and that's going to be our Ninja light bearing appendix. So we've now added a light, we've added weight, we've added bulk, we've added size to our firearm. We need a holster that is going to support all of that. So with that, we move back to our monoblock style clip standard, and we can keep our concealment wing. Now, when you're ordering these, we do offer two concealment wing options. You can go with the mono or the mod wing style that you see here. We also offer this smaller mini concealment wing. Both of them function the exact same. They'll also be similar heights. The only thing that you'll lose out with going with the mod wing is the extra 2 levels of retention that this style has. You can see the 4 screws here. The thing that you'll miss out on going with the mini concealment wing is that it is a one fixed size, whereas the mod wing is going to have the additional height that you can put the extra spacer in there. So something to think about when you're looking at that. But the overall fit and function, they function the exact same. Now, something else notice different about this that is cool about our light bearing appendix is that we have the additional holes here at the bottom so that you can mount things like tuckable clips, like we talked about earlier. Again, tuckable clips are huge for adjustability. It allows us to move this up and down and tailor it to fit our body type. That's going to increase our level of concealability. It's going to increase the level of comfort, both mentally and physically, and allow us to keep this thing on all day long. All right, next on the list is our protector appendix rig. These are similar to any other sidecar style holster you see on the market. They are a spot for your firearm and a spot for your magazine all in one place. These are awesome. They are great for keeping the firearm in the exact same place every time. You've got more surface area from your belt and you behind it holding this thing in place. So as far as consistency of draw, these are about the best that they're going to get. We currently are only making the fixed style like you see here, but that rigidity is actually a cool thing in certain ways. This allows us to put a little bit of extra bend when we're making these holsters and tuck this grip even further into our bodies. Adds, again, level of comfort, level of concealability. Two of the biggest things that we're looking for, minus the fact that this thing needs to have retention. So you'll have the two retention screws here. You'll have a retention screw here that allows you to adjust the magazine. Now we can choose to buy this either with the mod wing like we have here, or our standard concealment wings like you see on these other holsters. Both of them will be an option here as well. And then you'll have the different options of the belt clips. Another quick thing to add that's really cool about some of these holsters is you can run them in addition to this mag carrier. Now say you like the idea of a sidecar or the appendix rig as we sell them, but you do not like the idea of it being stuck together in the middle. That's okay. You can grab a mag carrier and run it in conjunction with your holster, and now you have the freedom and ability to move these back and forth along your belt line. I also enjoy wearing them, not just for having the extra mag, but I find that having something to offset the pressure being put on my stomach by wearing this in the appendix position, it helps to even things out and make it more comfortable throughout the day. And time for our honorable mention. So like I said, we have a holster option that not many people would think about for concealed carry purposes, but is a cool option and something that new carriers might really like. So this is our Ghost EDC bag holster. We came out with these a little bit about a year or so ago, and they are actually selling a lot better than even I thought they were going to sell. These are meant to carry inside of an EDC bag. So EDC bags, like the last video that I just made, they're catching on in popularity quite a bit. And these holsters are designed to sit down inside of those bags and give you a nice hard-shelled case to put your firearm in. A lot of times those EDC bags come with these little Velcro straps, and you kind of just have to bungee your gun in there, and it kind of has the tendency to want to move and go places that it shouldn't. And then heaven forbid you actually need to get to the thing and it's not where it was supposed to be. So this stays in place with Velcro, and then your firearm goes in it, and when you zip that bag, there's your firearm exactly where you left it. This is also cool for new shooters or new concealed carriers because maybe you guys aren't as into carrying inside the waistband or even on body in general just yet. You have to build that level of proficiency with your firearm, build that level of comfort and consistency of carrying every single day, and maybe you're just not there yet, and that's fine. We're all on a journey. This allows you to still carry your firearm, but maybe put it inside of a bag instead of on your person so that you have it with you, you have the level of comfort that it's there, and we're working towards getting it to the inside the waistband. Or maybe you work a job where you have to wear a uniform or you have to dress nicer, and carrying something like this just isn't an option. This also gives you the ability to scale up or down throughout the day and with the day to make sure that you can carry what you need when you need it. So there you have it, our entire lineup of inside the waistband holsters as they currently stand. So obviously I'm going to talk my holsters up. It's my company. I'm a little partial to the stuff that we have here, mostly because I have spent a lot of time trying to tailor these things down to fit specific needs. And as we carry them, as I get feedback from customers, and the more and more that I carry on my concealed carry journey, we tweak these things to get them just right. That's also the nice thing about being a custom holster maker, is if there is something specific that you're looking for in a holster, just reach out. We can always tweak our designs and make things fit the way that they need to be fit for you. So if you have any questions, as always, please feel free to reach out. You can do so through our Contact Us page on the website, in the YouTube link down below, or you can shoot us an email at info@risenholsterco.com. Please don't forget to like and subscribe as we're continuing to grow the channel. Thank you very, very much for all the support that you guys have been giving us so far. It has been a lot of fun being able to see all of the views come in, all the new subscribers. I think we've grown something like 42 subscribers in just the last 2 weeks, which is just crazy in my mind. to think that we grew that fast. There's that many people out there that actually care about what I want to say. So thank you guys very much for tuning in for that and continuing to tune in. We're going to try to continue to get these videos out and increase the production quality with each one of them, and hopefully get some stuff out there you guys can really get into. Thanks again. God bless, and I'll see you guys on the next one.